Bears win, baby.
Hey, this is David Kaplan from ESPN 1000, the Cap and J Hood Morning Show, and NBC Sports Chicago. Do what I do. Watch Braggs in the Stands with Greg Braggs and Jake. Must-watch television. Take that.
Let's go, baby. There's the moment. Gotta love it. Really excited. 5-1. We are hyped here at Braggs in the Stands. We got some guys live in the stands. We got our guy Dougie Fresh live in the stands right now. What's going on, Dougie? Where's your video, boss man? Hold on, we're gonna cut the music on my man because we brought in our guy Dougie Fresh. He's live.
Fix my cam.
Fix your cam.
Fix your cam.
Fix your cam. Fix your cam. Fix your. What's that? Here, try to come back in, come back out, and then come back in. All right, our guy Dougie Fresh is live at Bank of America Stadium, beating the Bears Spay Panthers win 23-16. At first, I was like, "What?" I had no idea what he did there. They spayed him, I guess. I don't know what's going on with our guy Dougie Fresh.
Oh, come on.
Dougie, I saw you earlier this morning. We practiced. I
know.
We did the rehearsal.
I'm here. I'm in section 110.
You're in section 110. Here, we'll give our guys a visual if you can't get your video figured out.
Oh, come on. Oh, no.
This is our guy, Dougie Fresh. Well, Dougie, I'm going to give you a chance to figure it out. We did it so easily this morning.
I'm going to try again.
Try one more time. You got to turn your camera on. You almost had it right there. You almost had it. All right, our guy, Dougie Fresh. He is live at Bank of America Stadium. The Bears just pulled off a huge win. Here were his seats. Beautiful seats in the stadium. We are very jealous, and this is what this show is all about, are the fans in the stands and our guy, Dougie Fresh. This is round 3, and it's okay. If we can't get your video, we can at least talk to you and get your reaction. Oh, you had it right there. Do that thing you just did.
No, that wasn't video. That's voice.
Well, I don't know, but regardless, Dougie Fresh, you are live.
Hey, listen.
On Braggs
we were about, I would say we were about 50 to 60% of the stadium.
50% Bears fans. How did it feel to be in the stadium for the first time this year?
Oh, it feels great. Honestly, it's the first time the Bears get to play in front of fans. We showed out. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, literally, no matter where I turned, left, right, front, back, I went down a row, went up a row, there was a Bear fan everywhere. So it was nice. And you know what? We put on for our team. One more time for me. Let's go Bears! Hey, listen, there's still fans in the stands.
Hey, that's amazing. And so what was it like, man? Were you nervous? Did you feel like they weren't going to pull it out at the end? Because, of course, they had to make it close, as they always do in dramatic Bears fashion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was a point, I would say in the third quarter, there was a point where the offense wasn't moving the ball, and I thought it might get close. But as every other game, the defense came in and they showed out. They stopped them. So unless you get points on the board besides the 3-point field goal, I'm not worried. You know what I mean?
Right.
And all they got was 3 points. So I was not worried about them at all.
So how were your seats? We got the vantage point pulled up. What was it like? Is this your first time going to Carolina? And what was it like being that close to the field?
Oh, yeah. This is my first time in Carolina. I was in section 201, so I wasn't too far back. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. The guards or whatever you want to call them, nobody stopped me. I walked down all the way down to 101 every time. And I was high-fiving Bears fans in 101. I was standing in the middle of 101 and nobody said anything to me. So I did that a lot. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was very clean. The stadium is very nice. They also, honestly, they kept the lines moving. fairly quickly when it came to beer and alcohol and stuff like that. So halftime, we were in and out 5 minutes, and we were back at our seats. So it was very nice.
Nice.
Interesting. Well, the Bears once again moved to 5-1 now with another dramatic win. Where do you see this going now with this team? Nick Foles seems to have, the team, under control at times, but they can't seem to get the running game going. Where do you see this team going from here?
I think it's just a stepping stone. The offense, they looked a little bit better than they did versus the Buccaneers. But I will say we still have some issues that we got to clean up. Like you said, the running game was not clean. A lot of it was in between tackles. I do think David Montgomery missed a few opportunities. I will say that to bounce outside. But if you look at us now versus the last 2 or 3 games, we did a lot of outside zone, outside slant, and now we were just trying to run it up the middle. We were trying to get a little more cocky than we should have been.
Okay.
So I would like to see a little more outside zone, but at the same time, you can tell that Nick Foles is starting to find his rhythm in this offense. He's finding his confidence in his offense, and he unlike Trubisky believes in his defense, and that's a huge difference.
100%. So 5-1. Moving to go to 6-1. Dougie, we couldn't get your video figured out. I'm sorry. We tried. You're gone. We can't see you, but we tried our best. Maybe next time. I know you're a guy that likes to go to games, so when we get that figured out, we'll be happy to bring you back on Brags in the Stands. But we appreciate you giving us the live in stadium correspondence all day, and happy you got to see a Bears win, my man.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Have a good day, man.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Bear down.
Bear down. Dougie Fresh, our guy, couldn't get this thing figured out, and we're still trying to effort our guy James G. He claims he's backstage, but I don't seem to see him. Do you?
He's not backstage.
He is not backstage. So I'm going to send him this one last time because I swear we have got a little technical difficulties, of course, but this is live television and that's how it works. We're going to roll with the punches here. And Berlissimo, no, I unfortunately did not download your What the F video. Who do you think yelled that in the first half? Did you catch that in the first half, Jake, when one of the Bears players was caught on a hot mic yelling, "What the heck?"
No, I didn't hear.
You didn't hear that. A lot of people think it might have been Jalen Johnson, but it's hard to say exactly who it was. Our guy Samir in the chat saying he enjoys your hat, my man, and I
love this hat. Thank you.
I've been wearing this hat. This hat's been glued on my head for like 3 years, so I'm hoping to get a Bears Super Bowl hat, and we can glue that on my head for the next 10 years. So Jake, now that we're still efforting our guy James G. He brought us some amazing in-stadium footage that I'm going to bring to you here in a little bit, but we're going to still try to bring him on. I don't know what's going on. Oh, here
I'm going to try to get the post game. We'll pull that up and we'll hear it now.
Well, here we go. We got James G in the chat.
Oh, hey, what's going on, guys?
There's
What's up,
my
man?
guy,
Bear
James.
down.
Bear down. So you're in the stadium right now. Why don't you go find the field, James? Are they let you go by the field?
Let's go in.
Let's go in. Let's go see.
Let's show the field real quick. I can't show the field.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
here.
We don't want to get you in trouble. We don't want to get you in trouble. So you're in Bank of America Stadium right now. Tell us the reaction of the big Bears win.
Huge win out here. Definitely a little nervous when Nagy decided to go for the pass on 3rd and 2, but DeAndre Houston-Carson came up huge with a game-sailing pick.
Game-sailing pick, and you had some amazing footage of the Nick Foles touchdown and the other touchdown. It was going the other way, but here was the Nick Foles touchdown. I want to play it and get your reaction from it.
Touchdown! And end up being difference in the game.
Yeah, really, you're 100% right. Nick Foles seemed to take charge. They could not run the ball. So James, where are your thoughts now? 5-1. What? No, before I get to your thoughts on this 5-1 team, I got to know, what was it like being in the stadium for the first time this year with other Bears fans? How many Bears fans were in the stadium, would you say, on the percentage split?
I'd say about 60, 40, 70, 30 Bears. There was a
Wow.
lot of Bears fans there today. Everyone showed out. We traveled well. Had a good little group inside the end zone. And everyone was just psyched up over this win. We're happy to be 5-1.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you went with your girlfriend or you went with your wife?
My girlfriend Gabriella.
Okay, Gabriella. So how did you end up getting your tickets? Because you have a lot of Bears fans wondering how people were able to get into a stadium and get tickets, to such a limited, selection of tickets for Panther fans, not just Bear fans in general. Where were you able to get your tickets?
Absolutely. Honestly, we just kind of did a little due diligence, looked around Ticketmaster, Ticket Exchange, and StubHub. And to be honest, we were able to find a decent price on Ticketmaster, and we just pulled the trigger on it.
Sure. So James, going back to the game, who stood out to you? There were so many guys that made big plays. Kyle Fuller seems to make, is getting so physical with hitting. For you, James, who stood out to you in this game?
And to be honest, Mario Edwards, he had himself a day today. A lot of interior pressure, and was really stout inside the run defense. So I'm happy with the pickup.
Well, our guy, Berlissimo, I don't know if you're familiar with Berlissimo's work, but he just did a recent tape breakdown of Mario Edwards. You're 100% right. He's been making a lot of plays.
Absolutely.
So, James, what was the weather like? It looks like it's sunny and shiny out there. You're not too much cold because we're almost getting some snow up here in
beautiful.
Chicago.
Nice, sunny 60, 65 today, I'd say. Perfect football weather.
Perfect for the football weather. How were we lost your video, I think. My guy James, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard video today, but we're there you are. So my guy James, beautiful stadium in your background. Why don't you give us a little look of that stadium and turn that camera around, give the viewers a look of that nice stadium. Oh, see, I see what's going on here. The camera doesn't turn around. Turn the camera back. See what I'm saying? You only can do this. See, this is what we got to do these test runs, Jake, because for whatever reason, when you turn a camera around on your phone, it goes out. But that is a beautiful stadium there, James. We are happy you came away with a win. Was this your first game at Carolina?
First game in Carolina. I've been wanting to go for a while, and honestly, beautiful city. Nice down here in Charlotte.
All right. Well, James, before we let you go, the Bears have moved to 5-1. An extra team makes the conference playoffs in each conference. Where do you see this team going? I mean, they're listed right now as a 5 seed, I believe, but at 5-1, you got to be looking at a chance to be at the top of this conference. Where's your mindset at as a Bears fan right now?
Let's take the North. We got 2 games late in the season against the Packers, and as far as I'm concerned, nothing else matters but that Green Bay game.
There you go. Well, James, we appreciate you coming on, giving us a little in-stadium vibes. That's what this is all about. Brags in the stands.
Hey,
I'm very
having me on.
Of course,
Have a
man.
good day, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, take care, man.
Bear down. I'm very jealous of my man James. Can't wait. As I said on Friday, as I broke the news, Brags is going to be back in the stands November 8th. But I'm happy to see my Bears fan brethren getting to go to a game. And of course, you get a shout out, Berlissimo, because you did such a great job on your breakdown of Mario Edwards. And looks like he showed out again. For me, my head's spinning when I'm watching a game. So I'd be lying to you if I was focusing in on the play of one Mario Edwards. He did make a couple plays that stood out, I guess. But
He did, yeah, absolutely. He had a great game today.
I got my eyes like you were saying. This play calling is really, really starting to get under people's skin. The little mistakes. It'll be interesting to hear what Matt Nagy has to say because the details, once again, you're seeing more missed tackles and missed assignments, missed wide receiver Anthony Miller. He had a chance to get a first down. He didn't get it. Those little things that can extend a drive. It's like the offense is one tick away every time, and it's the reason they don't score points. It's the reason they fall short. It's the reason these games always stay close. So, Jake, where are your thoughts now that we, got some of the in-stadium reaction? What was the on-couch reaction for you?
Well, I thought it was a pretty sloppy game offensively. I mean, defensively, they were pretty stout. I think the refs were horrendous today. And anytime the refs have such a factor in a game, it's really frustrating. You got to let these guys play to a degree. There was even a roughing call on Nick Foles that I just kind of shook my head at because he was barely barely touched helmet to helmet, and they threw that flag. So hey, that goes in our favor, but still, it's just ticky tacky crap that I would rather not see. I saw on the big Jalen PI. He was kind of holding his hand a little bit. I'll give him that, but you got to let these guys play to a degree too. I mean, especially on that pick 6, that was a little ticky tacky. I mean, the shoulder hit that Fuller. I don't know how Fuller could do it any better than he did.
It's the same hit he had
throwing flags
10 days ago. It's the same hit. I don't
same
get
thing. I mean, the receiver lowered his head, and what do you do in that regard? I mean, in that regard, he's that's his fault for lowering his head. He still got shoulder to shoulder contact, and they still throw the flag. Sometimes these refs are just eager to throw a flag anytime there's a big play or a big powerful hit and there's some noise, and they get all spooked and throw a flag. So it's pretty ridiculous. But in spite of the Bears playing against the refs and the Panthers on defense today, they still managed to get huge stops. Especially that one in the red zone in the second quarter was massive. They played great offensively. It does not look good. The O-line is absolutely horrendous. Charles Leno is not a starting left tackle in this league. He just is not. I mean, unfortunately, he has to be, but he's bad. And
you asked the question on Twitter: is Jason Spriggs really that as bad? And
yeah,
do you
I'm
it's
curious.
Gotten to that point to find
I think
out?
Packers fans think he's that bad because apparently I've heard that he's horrendous as well. But I mean, Leno is just bad week in and week out. Coward was bad. I mean, this was one of those D lines that hopefully you were thinking you could bully. Hopefully we could have a big game on the ground today. It did not happen. No. Matt Nagy has a aversion to calling power run plays. Has an aversion to putting a tight end back there to act as a fullback, which is annoying to me because the Chiefs utilize the fullback pretty damn well in that offense, and I think it could do wonders. Matt Nagy just bothers the shit out of me, honestly. Especially that third and 2, you're trying to put the game away. He throws the ball again on the previous drive. I mean, there was times when we were trying to milk the clock in the fourth quarter, and he was getting snaps off while the clock was running with 14 seconds left on the play clock, and that sort of crap, it just does not fly, and that's how you give a game away. So I had a big problem with Matt Nagy today and the way he called this game, and he needs some soul searching. That man.
It's the details, right? It's the details. That's what he says. But then where's his details?
Well, that's what I mean. If it's all the details to everybody else, and that's why he thinks his plays aren't working, he needs to take a look in the mirror.
Burning timeouts. You're burning a timeout as Carolina is trying to bait you into an offsides. If you're actually watching it, I guess it's easy for me on my couch, but it didn't seem to me that even prior to the Bears calling timeout that they were even going to snap the ball.
They weren't.
Even though the Bears were rushing to get lined up.
They weren't lined up. Maybe in that situation that they think, hey, we got something here because we got them a little jittered and they're not lined up properly. Maybe we do actually run the ball here.
If I thought they got set by the time he called the timeout, I thought
it was close. He was running down the field to get it called the whole damn time, and they just by the time they actually got that called, they were starting to get organized a little bit, but they had no intention of running.
Then they come out of the timeout and they get a delay game. It's like
that's the offensive timeout.
I'm sorry. Quarter. Yeah. And then it's just like it just always turns into that with Matt Nagy. Like, how does that happen after a timeout? It's one of those things with Matt Nagy that it's like he's got too much going on the sidelines. I noticed this last year. I went to the Bears Saints game and I was sitting really close to the sidelines, and I noticed that like during defensive plays, even he's like off on the side, not paying attention to the game, and it just seems like sometimes the game gets away from him. But it's tough when at the end of the game at 3rd and 2, he calls the pass. Maybe they should have ran it. At the same time, they don't seem to be able to run it because guys can't make blocks or whatever reason you want to call for it. And he calls the play, and Demetrius Harris drops it, and that was 2 big drops by Demetrius Harris at the very least. At least 2 huge.
But he keeps calling these runs out of the gun too. I mean, just play under center and let him just run the damn ball. You're trying to run clock there, you're trying to run timeouts. It just I don't know. I think he overthinks himself. Even in the first quarter, there was times that Foles was gesturing to the sideline on their first, I think it was their first drive, and he was like, come on, give me a play. Like, there's times when I think he just gets overwhelmed with his, I don't even know, whatever he thinks he can call, and then it just, I don't know. Nagy bothers me. I think Nagy is a really good coach. I think he's a really good coach, but I think you might need to consider the possibility of being Andy and passing the play calling duty off to Bill and see what happens, because I think a lot of his overthinking gets them in shitty situations.
So how are we looking with the press conferences, Jake? Are they?
I'm trying to queue it up. I mean, it hasn't gone live yet, so I'm watching it.
They're still club dubbing in the locker room. Bears win 23-16. Bears spay the Panthers. That's right. That's not a typo. They spayed them, neutered and spayed them. Is that the phraseology? And yeah,
yes,
we appreciate our guys Dougie Fresh and of course James, who both came on in stadium correspondence. I had to maybe work through some technical difficulties, and that's okay. This is our first time trying it out, and we will get through it, and we're excited to bring you more in the stands coverage as the season goes forward. But again, James had some pretty cool shots from the stands, just to see it. So you can hear the excitement by our guy. I believe that was James. Both these are James's shots. And, it's just cool. What did you think of that play? You see Nick Foles kind of stick Cole Kmet in the end zone. It was a big third down throw, and Cole Kmet comes down with his first touchdown of his career out of the University of Notre Dame. What were your thoughts on that?
That was a big catch. It was double coverage, and he made it, good throw, good catch, and good for him. I was hoping that he would do something today to kind of exercise the demons a little bit, get some confidence, and he seemed to do that. So, he had another nice catch down the sideline, I think the next drive, and then I think they probably used him in blocking a lot more after that. But, it's good to see him get acclimated and make some plays, and maybe that's a good thing going forward for him.
And shout out to Josh Lyles from Bears Nation Pod. They did a couple shows this week, and they were promoting that Cole Kmet was plus 2,200. Our guy, Johnny B is our in-house gambling correspondent here at Brags in the Stands. But I do got to give some credit to the Bears Nation Pod, because they did shout out Cole Kmet scoring a touchdown today was plus 2,200. Now, if you had bet Cole Kmet to score the first touchdown of the game, that was plus 10,000, Jake. And we'll have to bring Johnny B on next Friday to explain to me how much $5 of plus 10,000 would have got me, but I know it's a lot. And so it's a shame I didn't put any money down, because
50,000, right?
Bears Nation Pod was putting it out there saying that we were going to make some money if you put some money there. So shout out to those guys. And like I said, it's just really cool to see in stadium shots. I'm getting jitters just seeing the fans in the stands. I'm watching the Bears Packers. They're leading 3-0 right now, and there's fans at the Tampa Bay Stadium. And I get there's a lot going on with COVID, and you still have to be very careful. But as long as you're seeing socially distanced fans at these games, and when my day comes November 8th, I'm going to take my chances and go have some fun and watch a game for once. And it's just cool to see the fans back in the stands, especially Bears fans. You heard it from Doug and James, 60-70% Bears fans. And it's going to be funny when we go here in a month for our first trip, Brags in the Stands, to see, because I bet you it's going to be those same kind of numbers, if not, higher, because Nashville's closer in proximity to Chicago. It's been a town that Bears fans like to travel to. But as I said, touchdown! So you see that, Jake, Nick Foles had to sneak it in on third down to get the touchdown. Was there any doubt in your mind they were going to get a touchdown on that drive? Because it seemed like...
I hope not. It was third and inches, I think, at that point, wasn't it? Or second and inches?
David
so it's
Montgomery
come on, guys.
just misses it by one elbow, or else he could have had 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. And then, I don't know. We might have had to throw a ticker tape parade. But on that Foles touchdown, the Bears scored their first points of the third quarter this season what is so hard about the Chicago Bears not only getting off the bus playing good football, but coming out of the halftime tunnel playing good football? Because it just seems like our bugaboo is the first and the third now. We seem to do fine in the second, seem to do fine in the fourth, but we don't know what we're doing in the first and the third. You know, do you have any explanation for Nagy's halftime adjustments?
I don't know. I mean, I think you have a lot of good plans until they get punched in the mouth, and it's kind of hard to set things up and get things executed when your O line is terrible as the Bears O line seems to be. So, granted, Nagy he likes to get cute with things. You know, there's a couple of times that he likes to set plays up. You know, when he needs a few yards and he's throwing, you know, they're setting up plays before the sticks, and it's just. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's a whole factor of things, and I feel like not having, you know, football's one up in the front in the trenches, you know, so if you can't get the job done up front, that makes everything else a lot more difficult. So that's going to be the name of the game all year for these guys. And next week I am very concerned about Aaron Donald and these Rams coming to town, and are they going to I think they're going to LA, right?
I have to look on the thing. You know, I can barely see what's in front of me these days. But
yeah, so that's going to be a problem. I mean, this was one of those D lines where, you know, the Panthers D line, they lost Kawan Short. You were thinking this was going to be a week when they could get something going on the ground. They couldn't do it whatsoever. And next week, I don't even know how they're going to be able to run the football next week if this is the kind of effort they're putting up against the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
What were your thoughts on our guy, Mike Davis? As you can see, last year I took a picture with him at camp. You know, he didn't get much time here in Chicago. He thought he was getting a revenge game. Did you think the whole sleeping on the football thing down a touchdown in the fourth quarter was apropos, or do you think it was justified because of how much the Bears kind of misused him, so to speak?
I guess he probably was planning to do that all day. You know, I don't know that was the best point of the game to do something like that, but I think the Bears held him in check pretty well today. He had some good runs. I mean, he scored the touchdown on the PI call where they put the ball, you know, right on the one. It's like, well, good for you, man. You know, so I think for the most part, the Bears really held their own. They actually hobbled him a bit today and knocked him around. So I think they did a good job. The Bears defense deserves every bit of credit today. They absolutely won this game. They put the Bears in position to score the early 7 points. They put the Bears in position with a couple key turnovers. Nick Foles throws a ridiculously bad interception because he's got a guy in his face because Charles Leno can't block anybody. So it's, you know, without the defensive effort was extraordinary, and they are absolutely a championship caliber defense. And it's unfortunate that as Bears fans, we always seem to get championship caliber defense and below average offense. And that's just our curse. So I'm hoping
do you at least feel like with Foles, because it is two different types of suck with Foles and Trubisky, but do you at least feel like with Nick Foles, they have a chance to figure this out and find some continuity on offense? Because, you know, he was, you know, completion percentage wise, you know, making the passes, making the reads, you know, you have a couple errant throws here and there, but you feel like there is a comfort level with what he's doing. It's the running game that can't get anywhere. And
right.
Then, yeah, when he tries to go deep at any time, you know, you don't.
They were 23% on third down.
Let's hear it.
That's a good football team on offense that's well coached. So I was really happy with that part. They flipped the field for the offense, and just as a unit on defense was a fun one. I complimented them to the very end there in that locker room. You know, that's, again, hats off to Matt Rule with what he's doing there with this team. I think he's a really, really good football coach that does a great job, and they have a good football team. So, but at the same point in time, no one's gonna for us in our room, we're gonna be super fired up about 5-1, and winning on the road is hard. We got some things we got to clean up, and we will do that. We'll have a nice little extra day here before the Monday night game. So with that, I'll go ahead and answer questions.
Monday night.
Jason Leisure.
Monday night this week.
Hey, Matt, with the offense, at some point, do you make peace with yourself that this might be what it is and this is how you're going to have to nip and tuck as opposed to still kind of chasing this ideal that you have for it?
Look at how that.
Yeah, it's hard to say, Jason. It's to have, we had 23 rushes, I think, for 60 something yards, and that's hard. That's hard. So you're right. I mean, that's at some point we have to figure out what those answers are and the why part. And that's what we'll do. I know in these type of games, I guess the one thing that I don't want to take away the excitement from our team right now that we're 5-1. I think sometimes in this world, it's really easy to say, man, we're just looking for 50 points a game and get the running going. And we need to. I mean, trust me, man, it's hard right now. And we're trying to figure out that why part in so many ways. But with that said, I'll never question our guys on offense, coaches and players in regards to their effort and what they're trying to do. Never. I'll never do it. And so we got to fix it. We got to just keep working. The good thing is that we're 5-1. And when we do get this thing clicking, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're doing enough right now to get the wins, and I refuse to take away the excitement that we have as a team right now in that locker room.
Anybody's saying that.
We're having fun. How do we get better?
And I'm sure teams that open up 5-1, and historically the numbers are really good for a strong finish and for the playoffs. I know you're not trying to think that far ahead or anything, but I mean, what does this do for you? How does this set you up? Getting off to this great start. Schedule gets pretty tough here coming up with Rams and Titans and everything. How does this set you up for the rest of the year, getting off to the 5-1 start?
It's huge, especially in the world we're in today in 2020, right? The unknown of what's going on here in the future. Shoot, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone, the next couple of weeks. So to be able to get out to a fast start, that's just a credit to our coaches and to our players of the fight that they have. And we told them, man, every win you can get. What are we now? 5-0 in the conference. Have the loss to an AFC team. So those matter in the end when it comes down to conference records and tiebreakers. And we're not, hopefully what happens in a perfect world is we're winning and we're 5-1. And man, wouldn't that be awesome to get this offense rolling and as you're going into the end of the year and into the playoffs, and then it starts clicking. So that's what we got to do. That's why I refuse to be in that situation where we're just being hard on all the guys all the time. We just got to be positive and just keep rolling, man.
It's a balance. It's a balance. Yes.
Matt, what struck you about what clicked on the touchdown pass from Nick to Cole, and given what led up to that with the two plays, a timeout, a delay of game, what was your, energy after getting into the end zone after that sequence?
Yeah, so number one, let's start with the good. The good was a lot of trust by Nick, a special throw and a special catch with great protection, right? So if those two, that previous timeout and the false start, if that doesn't happen, we're really excited that we came out of that with a touchdown after a takeaway by our defense. Instead, I had to cool down a little bit on the sideline, to say the least, after how that went. But I did. I sat down and I relaxed. And that's just the timeout and a delay game in that situation when we're in the red zone. We're lucky we got that touchdown. I'll just say that.
What caused that? What caused the delay?
That? Exactly.
Say it.
It's yours.
There's just, I guess it was a little loud. I don't know. I guess it was a little loud.
It was a little loud with
JJ.
1/10 of the fans in the stadium.
Matt, we kind of heard a similar message from you last week. Hey, it's really great that we're 4-1, and then the next day you were frustrated with some of the lack of details. Did you make any mental notes of, when I go back and I watch a game, tonight on the plane back, like, I'm going to look for this? And how do you balance those messages of right after the game being positive, and then when you go back and look at it, maybe be frustrated with some of the stuff?
Yeah, no, this one's different. Last week, I thought it was consistent throughout the whole game. This is that deal right there at the very beginning, and that's what magnifies it. Is like, man, we did a great job getting the football. We're rocking and rolling. We're down here in the red zone. Let's go get a touchdown. Let's make it nice and clean. And instead, it's choppy, and you got to take a timeout because we're not in the right formation, and then a delay a game because of that. And so,
Those are
gosh,
scripted
let's
plays,
go. You know,
guys.
I love it, but let's go. And then so we got the touchdown. And again, what's unfortunate here is that what I hate talking about all this time is that our defense played lights out today. You know,
Sure.
and that's where, like, I don't know. I understand we want to look at all the negatives and stuff, but really, guys, I mean, what's pretty cool is that our defense played lights out today. They played awesome against a good offense,
You're
and so
damn lucky
I just
they
want to be
did.
careful of getting too much of that because I'm pretty excited right now. We're 5-1.
You ain't,
Kevin Fishbane.
You ain't raining on his parade.
All right, man. I'll keep asking about the offense then. When you get to the goal line, with everyone know about the third quarter, what's going through your mind? And then just to see David get that run to set it up and Nick finally punches it in. What's going through your mind as a coach during that sequence?
Okay, y'all aren't going to ask me anymore about that third quarter. It's off my back. We just had to get a touchdown. There
Now you
was
can say you only got one
our guys
touchdown.
worked too hard and it was too
You had
close.
7 points in all three
I
quarters.
saw, to be able to get that, I think at that point in the game, we had to get that touchdown. A field goal helps you, but it's a little deflating to be that close and not get a touchdown. So it was a good job getting in there on the QB sneak. It was so close on the run right before that. But again, our guys are fighters.
Pat Finley.
They're fighters.
That they are.
Hey, Matt, when Nick took over, we talked about his ability to throw the deep ball and trust his receivers and all that. Today, I think he averaged 5 yards an attempt, something like that. Is that how they were playing you? Is that something you need to get better at? What's the disconnect there?
There's some things. So number one, I think you can check me on this, but I think that they were the way they play their scheme, Pat, with what they do. I think they're number one in the NFL in shots downfield, 18 plus, the fewest in the league they've given up. So that's kind of their fundamentals of what they do. They want you to bend and then break. That's what they do on defense. But at the same time, you can still scheme up things and get and create shots. You can do that without a doubt. We tried one there with the flea flicker and they got pressure, so it's like, okay, we call one and we try to create one and manipulate one. And I think we ended up getting a pass interference, but it didn't work, so it's a little bit of both. But we those are nice when you get those big plays. Big plays are nice. They're good. We need more of those.
A couple more for Coach Adam Hogue.
He's so lucky he's 5-1, truly.
Oh, God.
Matt, I know it was a kind of a somewhat similar situation as last week, but the decision to pass there at the end on third down, what went into that?
Yeah, so, for our situation, if you get that first down right there, it's game over. You don't punt the ball back to them. And you can run the ball and possibly get it, and you make them burn the timeout, but that's not an aggressive approach. We've already decided, and it doesn't mean that if we're in that situation again that we can't run the ball. That's not what I'm saying. But being in the situation that we were right there, we felt like, hey, we had a play we liked. We already knew it. We said it because really in that situation, if it's a run pass situation, on first down, that on third down, if you've already made the decision to go for it, you already know what the play is. On third down, I'm saying, on third down what it's going to be. So that play was ready. And I have to go back and see it. I couldn't see exactly what happened, but we felt really good, all of us, with the decision to do that. And it's one of those ones, you get it. It's a great call and it's game over. And if you don't, it stinks and you got to get the ball back to them. And so we got to finish the end of those games.
Fred?
I got a couple questions here.
Yep.
And the final two were non-offense, so I know that's going to put.
Thank you.
And the first one is offensive.
That's what I'm solely
positive.
responsible for.
With the no huddle, it really wasn't a hurry up. Can you explain sort of why you were able to generate some momentum with that? And then the second two, DHC with the pick at the end, just how you've seen him grow, and then when Cairo connects from downtown, I got to think that really raises your confidence in him.
Yeah. So the first one was in regards to the tempo. And for us, we had to change something up because, it was 1st and 10 to 2nd and 11, and it just, something wasn't working. And so we gotta change the tempo, and we had the ability to do that. And we said, let's test it out. Well, it kind of worked. And there was a rhythm there, and we were popping some runs, spacing out a little bit, being able to get rid of the ball, And so we just felt like we were better in that situation. And like you said, it's not like you're the old school Oregon offense where you're just flying around going as fast as you can. There's a control to it. So we just decided to stay in that, and at least we were getting some first downs and getting rhythm. As far as DHC, I'm really proud of him. He's what a role player for us in this team on defense, special teams. He's just a quiet leader that does things the right way, and he's come up so big in these situations. And that's what it's all about. We got a group of good people that believe in one another, and the coach is believing in him. And in Cairo, for me, just from him being a kicker in Kansas City when I was there for those years, I always had a lot of confidence in him. Every time he was there, never once did I ever think about the kick being made or kick being missed. And I'll be honest with you, I'm really in that mode right now with him. I know that that 55-yarder, it didn't shock me that he hit it. The thing with Cairo is that he's very confident, and he doesn't get, if he misses a kick, okay, I missed a kick, I'll get the next one. And I appreciate that about him. And so those guys are doing really well, and really DHC, Cairo, and other guys are, like even with our punt team today with Pat, getting that punt off at the end, that's hard.
That's it, Coach. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
That's enough of that.
All right, Matt, now you. As soon as Nick Foles steps to the podium,
I don't need to see Nick Foles talk.
Well, maybe if he comes on quickly, we'll hear a couple questions, but we don't have to stay on long because as you see at the bottom of our screen, the Packers lead 10-0 on the Tampa Bay
Very
Buccaneers.
expected, I'd say.
I was
Minnesota got smashed. The Lions held out and they won their game.
The Lions did hold on to win, huh? They were.
I think so.
So Jacksonville couldn't get it done. Tampa Bay, man, they're struggling right now. They're going to have to pick it up here. Down 10-0 with 40 seconds to go at the end of the first quarter. So I might have been getting ahead of myself, my little header. You like that, Jake? I made that.
I see you made that. That's nice.
I like that. See,
I don't like the after one quarter.
What should I have said? Just the score? But how people won't know, they might think that's the final score. So
they think it's the final score now that the Bears game ended 20 minutes ago.
When Matt Nagy puts you into the vortex and
he talks for so long, it was the whole game.
You have no idea how long Matt Nagy can speak, and when you black out like that, when you come to, it could be nighttime, Jake. So Mayor Greg says thanks, John Shue, part 2. Yeah, exactly right. It's kind of scary sometimes.
He didn't want to hear it. Maybe tomorrow he'll have a different
such a frustration for me because last week when they beat Tampa Bay, a better team or at least a better resume with the GOAT Tampa Tom Brady and everything else, he comes into the Friday or immediately after the game and the Friday presser saying this isn't good enough. I want better details. That's what we want to see, and it felt like today he didn't want to go all in on that again because it's like protecting the team's feelings, and I don't think they need protecting. I don't think there's anybody on that team.
You set up your little dance party, and that's good enough.
But I don't think any of the team is going to take offense if he came to the podium and said, "Yeah, we're 5-1, but this isn't good enough."
I would have preferred to hear something like that, especially when you are here to put together a really good offense. And it's your offense yes, you're 5-1. You're lucky to be 5-1.
Right. I think the players
and that's what's holding this team back.
Right. I think the players would respect that more than it.
I'd hope that's what he's saying behind. I'm sure he's saying, "Hey guys, it's never easy to win in this league. Blah blah blah. Here's your dance party." And hopefully tomorrow there's something different a different tune he's singing because he's not holding up his end of the bargain to put a complete game together on offense because this defense is solid.
Well, you had mentioned early in the game on Twitter, how come they don't go to a power running scheme more? Because it seems like all their runs come out of RPO and shotgun.
It delayed handoff a little bit.
I do think that is a great question with this because you saw more success from the power running game in the first 3 weeks of the season when Mitch was in there. And no, you're not going to run the exact same offense, obviously, but there is a question
that should be
that it seems like not only did Mitch fit better with that power system and play action, but I feel like this offensive line.
Well, Mitch was
better
running out of behind center a lot more than Nick is. They know that Nick likes to be in the gun, and he was in the gun almost the entire game today. So I think you're gonna put him behind. You got to put him under center a few times here.
You're caught between two worlds with these two quarterbacks, but now you're molding into the Foles world, which is more what Matt Nagy wants. But again, my question is, and I think this would be a great question, I guess, for Berlissimo, having played the game and blocked on an offensive line. To me, it just seems like this offensive line is better suited, like, because it's simpler to run power football. When you got RPO and you've got all this motion here, all this stuff going on, your responsibilities change at the line of scrimmage. Stuff that's way over my head, I can assure you of that. And obviously it seems to be over these guys' head at time because they can't block it up. So it seems to me, how can he sprinkle in the power game but still be RPO centric? It's like maybe it can't be done.
You use it when the situation is appropriate. I mean, I think there's nothing that says you couldn't do that throughout the game. It's all situational. So if you have certain situations where you think power, I mean, early in a game, we're trying to get some, like a 3rd and 2, you run a power run or something like that. That makes sense. You can still run your RPOs and all that stuff, but it makes sense. I mean, last year with Mitch, they didn't have Mitch under center a lot because they're trying to force him to run a sort of style offense that Nagy seemed to like to run. And Mitch was in shotgun almost the whole year. So, it's.
But I can hear my guy Phil Atoshin in the back of my head right now, because Nagy talked about in the presser, well, we tried to run a flea flicker and tried to shake things up and change it up to get something open downfield. It didn't work because they couldn't block it up. And while I completely agree with that assessment that they're not blocking it up long enough to let plays develop downfield, you're not calling plays that balance off of, like, so when you call a run game and you have a power game and you run play action off that's developing a scheme and setting the defense up to then get them on something else. You're running a flea flicker, but what is setting that up to open up the play downfield? Because even though that wasn't blocked up, it wasn't open downfield. There was coverage. So it's like, how do you, that's where my question is for how does Nagy get this run game complementary to what his offensive style is? I don't know if he can do it truly. And then my next question would be, and I'm not the guy to answer this either, but if Rashad Coward isn't holding up to snuff, are you considering bringing in a guy like Larry Warford, who's a veteran, or are we past that point?
Is he still on the street, or did he
so.
retire?
I don't think he's been picked up by any team. He's a veteran, played for the Saints, left guard. It just seemed like anytime they tried to run to the left side, there was nobody home, nothing there. So here we are with Nick
Cole's
Foles
first
and
touchdown, which is huge. But we just got to be better. A couple unique plays right there that we weren't able to line up correctly. So we got to figure out what was going on and move on. But thank goodness we were able to put together a touchdown right there with the short field because of our defense.
Mike Berman.
Nick, the trend kind of continues. You're not finding that consistency that you're striving for on offense, but you are winning games. How do you come to grips with all that? Is this what you guys are? Kind of a win ugly, inconsistent team? Are you okay with that? Or does the offense really have to improve for you to go where you want to go?
Well, I first say, would you rather lose pretty or win ugly? I think that we'd rather win ugly. I think that's the common thing. So I think it tells you a lot about our team. Is this who we are offensively? We want to improve. We want to get better. We want to have rhythm. But ultimately in the NFL, it's about winning games. It doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters that you get it done. If you put up 50 points and you lose a game, those 50 points don't mean anything. So right now we're winning games. We're playing together as a team. We can improve. I think that's exciting. If we were winning these games and playing perfect and they were this tight and we're playing perfect, what do you do?
Today.
Where do you improve? I mean, then we're sitting here as like, man, I guess when we just, play those teams, it's just not going to happen. Well, right now we have a lot of areas to improve offensively once again. but we are figuring out ways to, score and get points and move the ball and do those things. We can fix what we're doing. It doesn't happen overnight. Offenses don't get fixed overnight. And sometimes they don't get fixed throughout the course of years. You've seen it in the NFL. There's been teams that have been bad offensively for a very long time. We're not one of those teams. We're a team that's young offensively. We're growing. We're getting to know each other. We're figuring out who we are, and we're doing it at the right time. And as a team, we're winning these games. And I think that's what's important. Now, we're not going to get complacent and say, hey, man, we're 5-1. This is it. No, like we're sitting there in the locker room after the game talking through it. Hey, we got to be better here. This is what we got to do here. Communication here, route running here. Hey, we got to be able to run the ball here. We know that. I know you're all going to ask those questions. We know that. And that's what's exciting because we don't have to have y'all say, like, hey, you doing this? Hey, we know. But we also know that we're going to improve because we believe in one another. And that's what great teams do. Great teams find a way to win a game. Bad teams win with prettiness. Great teams win no matter how it takes. So I'm proud of our guys. I think we're continuing to improve. Are we where we want to be? No, we're not where we want to be. But I'm excited about our offense. I'm excited about the guys that are there. I like the communication that's happening on the sideline. I love the passion of the players. Most important, they care, and we're bonding. We're getting to know each other. That's football. Like, you don't just go out there and play football. You got to care about the man next to you to make those plays. So I like where we're at. I know we're going to improve. I believe in our staff. I believe in our players, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this organization.
He's the son of a
Dan
preacher,
Wiederer.
man.
Nick, on the touchdown pass to Cole, wondering what your eyes told you and what gave you the trust to give him that opportunity, and given some of the conversations that you've had with him recently about just him staying patient, what was the reward for him obviously getting in the end zone for the first time?
To be honest, the play wasn't even designed for him. We haven't thrown that route all week, and there was just something in my gut where I'm like, I'm going to pull this trigger right here. He's going to catch it. We're going to go, and that's football sometimes. They had a guy covering down on our running back, and they did a nice job with their coverage, pushing a guy over and playing a little lower, and, Cole made a great play. There's a reason he's here. He can make those plays and go up and, help us out. And I was talking to, Jimmy in the locker room. I think Jimmy Graham caught his first touchdown as a rookie in the stadium as well, which I think is really cool. I don't know if y'all knew that. Pretty cool, though. Now y'all can write about something else. So there you go. You're welcome.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pat Finley.
Jeez. He's the good cop, bad cop.
Nick, how much better do you guys need to be at the deep stuff? It seemed like there was a lot of short and intermediate throws today. To be as dangerous as you want to be offensively, how do you fix up the deeper stuff?
We have to have better
I mean, each game is its own entity. Studying this defense, I think they're number one in not giving up explosive plays. If they're not number one, they're up there in the top. So the reason is they play a lot of zone. So it's hard to hit those deep plays. There was a couple of times we tried to, it didn't work out. But that's something we got to keep working on. We got to be able to get those big chug plays. We got a few, but we got to get more. And I think they're going to come. Once again, being able to figure out how to win is great because now we can, we won, but let's get better. Let's try to get some bigger plays. Let's get our playmakers out there, let them do the thing downfield. That'll open up the box, help us run the ball, and then we just continue to improve as an offense.
Kevin Fishbane.
Hey, Nick, I want to ask you about two plays kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum. What happened on the interception? And on the flip side, the 3rd and 9 to A-Rob. How did that play develop for you?
Interception. I felt pressure from the left. I was trying to make a play. It was a dumb interception. I was just trying to, get us down there, try to get it over. The defender guy made a good play. In reality, that's on me. In reality, I should just throw it away or try to hit Jimmy for a 2-yard completion and go to second down. I got a little, too aggressive just trying to make a play. I'll learn from it, put it in the database and move on. And then I assume the 3rd and 9 was when I hit – was that the personal foul too? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, fourth quarter.
You know what? A-Rob should not be open on that play. And they had 2 guys on him, and he was able to split him and make a play. And then we got the penalty, and that's a huge part of the game. So he's a guy that I trust. Even when he should be covered, he's not covered, and that was a big play in the game. So happy he got open.
JJ?
Our guy
Nick, you talk about believing that these issues are fixable, and because you have all this belief in your teammates. Are there other things that make you believe, hey, like the issues that have popped up while we're winning and learning how to win will get fixed throughout the season that go beyond, believing in your teammates? Or is that really the most important thing here?
You know what? I think the thing is when you win a game like this and you get back to the locker room, obviously you're excited because it's very hard to win in the NFL. But when you can sit down as men and you're not satisfied and not happy, and you want to discuss where we can get better right after a win against a good team, that tells you a lot. Because we could easily just go in there, but you know what, we won, doesn't matter. No, that's not what was happening in the locker room. We were sitting there having discussions. How can we do this better? What can we do here better? Coaches and players are talking. And that is what it's about. We're not getting complacent. We want to get better, and we're talking. It's easy to say, hey, 5-1, this is awesome, NFL. No, that's not what I see here. And I've been on teams where maybe at the beginning of the season, you're trying to figure out who you are offensively. You're sputtering at times, and then all of a sudden, you just keep believing, you keep working, you keep watching film. Who do we want to be? What do we do well? How can we do this? And then all of a sudden, there's that one game that it just clicks. And it's happened many times in my career. I've been a part of it. But it all starts with, after games like this, you sit there, you have the conversations, and you are not satisfied with simply winning the game because you know you have to get better. And I think that's just in life and what we do. You can't just be satisfied and become complacent. You have to continue to work on the little details every single day with what you do to get better. And then it's going to click. You got to believe. Without belief, nothing's possible.
That's right.
Brad Biggs.
He's handling this way better than Matt did. Matt's just like,
Hey, Nick,
I'm happy I won a game.
In the no huddle, it wasn't a hurry up or anything today, but it certainly seemed to provide a little bit of spark or maybe a momentum for the offense. What is it that made that work today? And I think you probably had some success using that against the Bucs as well. Can you talk about what makes that click for you and the offense?
I think it's a tougher defense when you switch speeds. It's like playing basketball. You got a fast break. You bring it up. You do all these different things. You got to show them these different speeds. And it ultimately comes down to putting stress on the defense and then letting players make plays. When you go no huddle, hey, they're on their heels. When you huddle up, sometimes they can get a good call on for what they practiced all week. Well, all of a sudden you're no huddle. Some of their calls aren't possible from that situation. So I think it's a good change up. Is it something we're going to major in? I don't know. But we're going to continue to work and show these different speeds because I think that's what offenses do. Great offenses do. You can huddle up. You can do well. You can go no huddle, switch the speed. You can go super fast. And it becomes dangerous because then all of a sudden that team you're playing has to work on those. And I thought today for, really our first time switching up the tempo like that, we were able to get a couple good drives going that really helped us get a W tonight.
Couple more for Nick. Jason Leisure.
Couple more for Nick.
Nick, as imperfect as it was did this feel a little more thorough and complete of a game to you guys where you're not scrambling at the end trying to come back?
Yeah, were we down at, I don't know, and that's the thing is I stay in the moment. I don't worry too much about the score. I just play because it's too much of a grind in the NFL. If you start playing and, obviously you got to be smart at times, but I think that's different. We're not playing from behind 16, 17 points. We had the lead. We were able to keep the lead. It was a 2-score game at some points. Then it went to 1 score, and then we were able to move the ball. Defense comes up big. Once again, great team win, not easy. Really proud of our guys, but, it was different where we're not at the end trying to, come back and make plays and win at the last second, stuff like that. So it was nice to have that lead. It's just now we got to build and put more points on board. So, hey, we can hit that 4-minute a little earlier and finish the game.
Last one, Dan Wiederer.
Nick, you seem genuinely more juiced up than we've seen you at any time since you've been in Chicago. Is that a fair assessment?
Hey, the more you play, the more you're with these guys, the more you grind out these wins and we get to know each other. I'm excited, but I think I'm just excited because I felt like we got a little bit better tonight. I feel like we're figuring out who we want to be, and that excites me. I think the conversations after the game in the locker room juiced me up and got me excited because we're not just sitting there happy with winning. And that excites me about this with these guys. I'm exhausted. I can't wait to take a nap on the plane. But I am hitting a little bit of adrenaline right now. But once I hit that bus in that plane, I'll be out. But I think it's the conversations in the locker room with my teammates. We were able to get a Meek Mill song on in the locker room. It reminded me of, Philly a little bit, So I'm not going to lie, that got my juices going. So shout out to Meek.
All about that swag.
Was it Dreams and Nightmares? So it brought back a memory for me that was exciting. And then I might have got up and danced a little bit. I'm more like country, maybe some Christian rap, but I'll tell you what, if Meek comes on with that song, I get rolling.
Goodbye.
Thanks for your time, Nick.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, that was one of the better quarterback press conferences we have seen.
I agree. That was one of the better quarterback press conferences we've seen. And that was some lively, realistic banter, and I like to hear that because Matt Nagy just blew smoke up everybody.
Speaking with some conviction, you know, and you hear you hear Club Dub going up. We got to be careful with the music.
Yeah, I wouldn't play that anymore.
We had YouTube attacking us for our Friday night show. So for those of you looking for Friday night show on YouTube, we got the lockdown because of some of our copyrighted video we've been putting up for all our viewers. We're just trying to keep the viewers informed. We're trying to give them some, a look into the game since we can't be in the stands, but God forbid we show a 5-second clip. We apologize for any musical or video stuff we bring on to Brags in the stands. But yeah, it is nice to hear Nick Foles kind of take the reins. Matt Nagy comes in there and fumbles about, his answers and everything else. And then
he was just happy. I hope tomorrow he comes out and he's more realistic, and I hope he starts pointing a finger at himself for a little bit of this.
Who's taking offense to the way Nick Foles came in there and had a different attitude? I just don't understand why Nagy to be a player's coach doesn't mean to constantly, you don't have to be like Greg. I'm a fan. I'm not a coach. I root for these guys, and I feel like that's how Matt Nagy is. You saw that even with, like I said, Cody Parkey. Everybody goes to the Mitch Trubisky example, but I go back to Cody Parkey when he missed hit the upright 4 times against the Lions around this same time of year. Mm-hmm. And he came to the podium and everybody's like, this is a problem, Matt. And he was like, I'm going to trust in Cody. I believe in Cody. He likes to do that. It's like it's a storybook thing. That's how he looks at things. And I can appreciate that to an extent, but you're a coach. You have to make the tough decisions sometimes. And, he could have made a switch back then. And now you're looking at this. And maybe some switches need to be made. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not the guy to say that.
What can you do? You can't really make any personnel switches on this team.
Not to name drop, but I asked Tom Waddle because I know that 2 guys that are getting the eyes of all the fans now that we've pushed Mitch out of the way, the eyes are on Matt Nagy. But as far as the players are concerned, the eyes are on Charles Leno and Anthony Miller on the offense. That's who I see the most.
Well, the left guard position is still McHoward had a terrible game, so
right. But I think most people aren't going to be as hard on him because of who he is, as opposed to Leno, who's a starting left tackle. And so it's sitting there like I asked Tom Waddle, would you bench Leno for Spriggs? And he's like, Leno is better, so you don't have much option there. And so then I doubled down and asked him, would you at least put him down for a series? If he had a crucial penalty, would you put him down for a series just to try to see if that lights a fire under a guy? Because competition breeds success. So I sit there, even a guy like Anthony Miller, he makes a few mistakes. So it's hard to fine-tooth comb every little mistake like Matt says, but that's his job as a coach. I can make the excuses as a fan because I'm rooting for all these guys to succeed, as Ronald Jones rumbles into the end zone for a touchdown as Tampa Bay leads 14-10 here with 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. So we, like I said, I'm just excited because the Bears are in a good position, but they have so much more they can get better at. And, obviously we're just trying to keep up with the Green Bay Packers, and maybe Tampa Bay can do us a favor today and we can hold even with them. But as I've said a million times, it's not about being the best in football right now. It's about being the best in football at the end of December, come January. So
if you're a playoff team, sure.
If you're a playoff team, but 5-1 teams typically make the playoffs, and that was before they had an extra team make the playoffs in each conference, which we're going to have this year. So,
well, here's what's the next 3? You have Rams, you have Saints, and you have Titans, right? That's your next 3. Sure. Those you could easily get your ass kicked all 3 of those games if you don't get some offense together. Because if the defense didn't play as well as they did today, I honestly thought, that they would have lost that game. I definitely think that, because you can't keep getting in these situations where you're not producing. And you're putting up 3 points here and there, and they're lucky Cairo was hitting his kicks today, and kudos to him because he's really stepped forward and had some good games the past 2 weeks. But it ain't gonna fly against some of these top tier teams. And if the Bears want to consider themselves a top tier team,
so
they need to get this together.
So you're starting to be good with Carlos Santos here. as John Fox once called him, and our Heidi Zimmerman. We love Heidi. She's such a great supporter of our show. So what do you think? Because Heidi says she's torn between two lovers, and I think she's referring to Eddie Pinheiro. And so what are your thoughts there? Now that Cairo
He doesn't
Santos,
get the job.
It's Santos' job now to lose. Do you
There's no way you bring a guy in who has a groin injury, who hasn't really kicked all year, and then be like, oh, this is our guy. Go ahead. If Cairo's hitting his kicks, that's it. It's his job until it's not his job. So I don't think we see Eddie the whole year, honestly, unless barring injury. But then you still have Kai Forbath. So
no, I mean,
I think he had his.
I liked it. I had no problem with Eddie. I liked his confidence, but the fact of the matter is, it's not easy kicking in Chicago, and Eddie
wasn't that good either.
Eddie didn't give me that much confidence. Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. He didn't exude all this confidence every time he lined up to kick. So, now that Santos has kind of taken the reins, hit some big kicks in the fourth quarter, hit a game-winning field goal, even if it was a chip shot. Hey, we've seen chip shots are no gimmies to win games for Chicago Bears kickers. So for him to do that,
and Cairo's a veteran. Eddie has very little experience kicking professionally. So in that regard, I'm always going to give it to the veteran. He kicked that 55-yarder today with ease. It probably could have hit 60, 61 with how much leg he had on it. So if that's what you're going to get out of him, I don't see how you could take him out of that starting lineup. And I don't think Matt has any intention of doing that.
Absolutely. And so it'll be interesting. We got from a question from the chat. Brandon wants to know, where was Ted Ginn today? I was a little surprised that they didn't try to find him a couple times because
they were throwing out their tight ends today, and I think that's why you were seeing Demetrius get so many options. Ted Ginn needs to be off of punt returns entirely. Every time he's out there, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. He dropped one today. Last week he didn't want to make the catch. Like, just stop. Anthony Miller, if he's not going to get a lot of snaps on offense, he's done punt return before. Put him back there, because Ted Ginn is not cutting it, and I hope they can put that together quickly.
Makes me nervous to put Anthony back there with his shoulder injury history.
He's not getting snaps on offense either, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, they were a couple of times people are like, well, I'd like to see Eddie Jackson back there. I'd like to see, if you're going to
Cordero. What about Cordero?
He doesn't want to be punt return. He said he doesn't like to do it.
I don't care what he wants. We need it.
I don't care either. He should be on punt return.
And Berlissimo wants to know what the best ability is, and that is availability. Of course, availability is the best ability. Berlissimo, and it will be interesting here going forward. The Titans game, which that'll be my first game of the 2020 season. The Brags in the stands debut, the true in the stands debut coming for the Titans game. I am very nervous for that game, Jake, because
you should be nervous.
I'm going to have this kind of a vantage point, which is a beautiful view, but what I'm nervous about is, as Berlissimo said, Derrick Henry running wild, because they're undefeated right now. They played on Tuesday, then they played another quick turnaround game, and they won both games handedly. Ryan Tannehill slinging the ball.
They lost today, though, right? Against
Did they lose? I thought they were up. When we started to get our post-game stuff going, I thought they were winning. But, things change fast in the NFL, so maybe they finally got a win. But they definitely look like a formidable team, and it'll be a tough win driving all the way out to Nashville. But we got a few games before that.
Titans won that game.
They did win, so they're still undefeated. Who knows? The Bears might be visiting.
They're a really good team. Tannehill's having a really good year. I mean, the Bears defense, this defense is the truth, and I trust them. But Derrick Henry is a man among boys, and Tannehill's playing really well. They got A.J. Brown back, who's a beast. You have to put up points. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to be able to get all these stops against all these quality teams. You got to be able to put up points and match them, and that's where I'm a little worried. I'm hoping the Bears can at least go 1-2 these next 3 games.
I guess that's a realistic. If that's everybody likes to connect realistic with negative thought process.
I'm going to be realistic because, like I said,
isn't exactly a positive.
You got 5 wins now. You got 5 wins. And you have 11 games left, right? So if you win half of those games,
I think you'd take 1 and 2, but you should expect.
I'll take 1 and 2.
You should expect 2 and 1.
I would love 2 and 1, yes, but I'm saying if you win 5 of your next 11 games, you got 10 wins. You're looking at probably getting into one of these playoff spots.
Absolutely.
So these are really tough games. Our O-line is absolutely atrocious. So I'll take it. Again, these are 3 super quality opponents.
So, I have no idea what Barlissimo's saying there, but Atlanta score.
Atlanta?
I don't know. But the score of the Atlanta game was like 20-19 or so. I can't remember anymore. I blacked out when the Bears won that game. But regardless, the Bears are 5-1 today, and we will take it all day.
We needed to be 5-1 today.
And as you saw, and I made Jake laugh, you can get your Foles Royce shirts available in our Teespring. Yeah. And as soon as he becomes a Rolls Royce, you'll be ahead of the game because you'll have your hoodie. And yeah, I didn't think Foles played all that terrible, to be quite honest with you.
He threw for less than 200 yards, which is cool.
Right. That's
he
what's
had
funny.
no. Foles was 23 of 39, 198 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And the interception was bad, real bad. But he had, Leno is just a freaking turnstile out there. So he had a guy right in his face. He has that so many times. So
yeah,
I can't fault him for it.
No, absolutely not. So, our guy Barlissimo letting us know that Henry had a 94-yard run today. But yes,
touchdown run. Yeah, he had a huge game.
You can get your Foles Royce. There's our guy Kevin Kadick. Did you see that? I said it right. I've practiced all night to say that. Wearing our Foles Royce shirt, we appreciate you. You can get your Brags in the Stand shirt, even coffee mugs. You can get everything else in our Teespring store. You see the .com address below. Pete, what do you think our guy Pistol Pete's thinking today? He sent me a text. He's always as classy as always. He's not the Pete we once knew. And he sent me a text. He said, "Good game. DJ Moore cost us a chance to win there at the end." Do you remember?
Yeah, he did. He dropped that. It would have been an incredible catch.
Incredible catch. I don't think it cost them there. Pete's being.
I think Teddy cost them that. I put on Teddy a little bit more than DJ Moore. That would have been an incredible catch. But hey, you win some, you lose some. We'll take it. We needed to win these 2 games against lesser quality opponents. That Indianapolis game, when you see what Indianapolis is doing, it's just like, man, why couldn't you just put together a little bit of offense? Because but 5-1, I would not have guessed to be 5-1.
It literally could be flipped. That's how close all these games. And I get that's the NFL, but you not only take 5-1, you take 5-1 and run with it, and you figure it out as you go. The excuse making, Nagy, isn't how you're going to get better. I think the convicted Foles is kind of where you want the mindset to be for this football team. And I hope, everyone continues to follow his lead, and they can keep stringing wins together because they do have a chance. You never know. Look at Foles is from a team that is a case in point example of why you don't have to be Patrick Mahomes to win a Super Bowl. You just got to get there and get hot at the right time. We're not predicting this team to be the next Chiefs. This team isn't going to be that. If they're going to pull a miracle, it's going to be a miracle. But miracles do happen, ladies and gentlemen, and 5-1 puts you in a position to make that miracle happen. So I'm excited for this. They're 5-1. We got some winnable games here in the, immediate future here. And then it starts to get real tough as we start to get into division play.
It's tough right now to me.
So let's hopefully the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady, hopefully he knows how many downs there are in a series and he can get us a W here. But I think that about wraps things up for Brags and Stands, the post-game show. We are 5-1 this year, Jake, in our debut of Brags in the Stands. So I'm very proud of that. Thank you very much. And I want to thank our in-stadium correspondents for their hard work today. Dougie Fresh out there with the Panther brethren. And then, of course, James G. and his girlfriend. We appreciate you guys coming on and fighting through the technical difficulties and everything else. We promised to get things smoothed out, but you guys brought it. We appreciate you. Thank you to everybody in the chat that hung out today. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you to my guy, Barlissimo. We appreciate all you guys hanging out, staying with us. We will be back next Friday night, 7 p.m. Central, as per usual. Johnny B's infamous duck race will be debuted on Brags in the Stands. Have a chance to win some cool prizes, a Michael Jordan giveaway. So we got some fun stuff planned, some cool guests in mind. Make sure you tune in. We'll be breaking down the upcoming Bears game and anything else that's under the Chicago sports wire. So 5-1, Jake. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to get to my Packers-Buccaneers game and enjoy the rest of this football Sunday. And I hope you all do the same. So for Jake, I'm G Braggs. Bears are 5-1. We win. You lose. Bear down all day. And that by you, I'm talking to you, Pistol Pete. I know you're watching. Bears win, baby. Take that.